Document A, the Cultural Revolution. In August 1966, Mao Zedong launched the Cultural Revolution, a communist revolution in China. He encouraged the creation of Red Guards to punish party members and others who held anti-communist ideas. He especially targeted the wealthy and the educated. He took away much of their land. This, however, did not happen without resistance. In the decade that followed, China was turned upside down as millions of Chinese youth attacked traditional symbols of power and people in authority. Among them, Communist Party leaders, teachers, and family members. Mao and the Communists had taken control of China in 1949. For the previous century, China had been dominated by foreign powers and badly weakened. Before and during World War II, Japan had occupied much of China and slaughtered tens of thousands of Chinese, and maybe more, in a massacre that has become known as the Rape of Nanking. Under Mao, the Communist Red Army helped defeat Japan and then won a civil war by forcing the army of China's Nationalist Party to flee the mainland for the island of Taiwan. Mao became a military and revolutionary hero who pledged to transform China into a utopian communist state that would dominate the capitalist West. His victory blindsided the US, fueling a Red Scare during the 1950s that included communist witch hunts known as McCarthyism, as America faced off with the Soviet Union and China in the Cold War. But Mao's effort to turn his communist vision into reality ultimately proved disastrous. Eager to impose his ideas on China's economy, Mao ordered an end to family farming and private land ownership. Farmers were organized into communes where people lived and worked together. The Great Leap Forward, as his program was known, was a tragic failure of bad planning and miscalculation. Farm production plunged, and the famines that resulted led to as many as 45 million deaths. By the early 1960s, Mao had largely turned over control of the economy to deputies like Deng Xiaoping. At the same time, Mao had grown disenchanted with the Soviet Union, which he thought was abandoning the tenets of communism. And he worried that China's own revolutionary spirit was being diluted. He also became increasingly paranoid that he would be sidelined and forgotten. His answer was the Cultural Revolution. On May 16, 1966, the Chinese Communist Party issued a memo outlining Mao's ideas for this new revolution, which targeted the bourgeoisie capitalists and authority figures in general. His wife and a handful of other radicals, together known as the Gang of Four, became the movement's henchmen. Mao held rallies that called upon students to destroy the four olds: old culture, old customs, old ideas, and old habits. It was a rallying cry that unleashed the young against the old. Soon, masses of young people across China formed Red Guard groups that became the shock troops of Mao's movement. Teachers, government officials, people with ties to the West, and almost anyone in authority were beaten and paraded in public wearing dunce caps. Young people burned books, ransacked temples, and hung posters denouncing their neighbors. High schools and colleges were closed for years so students could dedicate their time to the revolution. "To rebel is justified," declared a famous slogan of the era.